I designed an awesome alternate build of the boutique hotel using only the parts from the original set. And in this video, I will explain the purpose of each module and how they connect together. Then we'll take a closer look at the exterior details and I'll show you some secret building techniques. Finally, we'll explore in detail the interior of each level and I'll share with you the design of some cool mini builds. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. First of all, this building is not a full-blown hotel and is more like a guest house that you can find on Airbnb. The first floor features a large kitchen with all the necessary amenities for self-catering, and a living room with a modern TV and sofa. There is also a small room with a glass roof, which can be very easily removed by pressing on this corner. The glass roof allows you to peek inside the room, which functions as a storage and mudroom. The minifix can take these stairs to access the second floor. Inside, there are 2 dedicated bedrooms where the guests can stay overnight, and a corridor between them which leads to a minibar with a selection of age-appropriate beverages. Taking the spiral staircase that lead to the top level can be a challenge, but it's worth taking the risk if you want to enjoy the luxurious bathroom you'll find there. The guests can choose to take a shower or a bath here, and of course, take a dump if they really need to. Adjacent to the first floor is a small gray facility with a really satisfying rooftop technique that uses a bunch of stacked wedge plates. This is a gallery/photo studio. This MOC uses exactly 90% of the pieces from the boutique hotel, with no additional pieces required. So in principle, you can build it right away if you own that set. The MOC has Technic pinholes at typical locations on both sides, so it can be easily integrated into a lineup of official modulars. Each module can be removed to access the interior and quite easily assembled back. However, you'll have to remove the spiral staircase before removing the second floor. You might wonder, what's the purpose of the grey tiled section? It's a part of the top level floor which had to be transferred here due to the sideways building technique used in the facade of the top level. Now let's take a look at the exterior details and techniques. The overall exterior design is inspired by European architecture, particularly the luxurious style buildings found in centers and old towns of major European cities like Vienna, Paris, and Vilnius. The building entrance features steps that help to reach the height of the elevated floor inside, and I've created this simple gold railing. The snakes were repurposed to function as bicycle racks, and the large bay window provides natural light for the minibar. The front facade and the roof are decorated with multiple arches that help to create consistency and repeated patterns. I used studs not on top to decorate the facade with these outward-facing slopes and half circles. On the other hand, here I've used the sideways building technique to create these U-shaped protrusions, which sort of frame the window of the third floor. The protrusions are secured in place using brackets on the interior side, and a few studs are holding them in the vertical direction. For me, the goal was to make each level of the facade match in terms of design, but different in terms of the building techniques used. LEGO MOCs should focus not only on looks, but also on an interesting and non-monotonous building experience. Also, a really quick note, if you're loving this video so far, then please like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. Also, don't forget to comment below what you think of this building design. And now, let's go back to the video. The facade's light nougat color is carried over onto the sidewall, which then transitions into reddish brown that frames the recessed brick wall. The exposed bricks add depth and texture to the sidewall, that it resembles something you would see in an old town building, where a section of the sidewall is exposed due to the breakage of an insulation layer. I integrated the larger windows on the back side and decorated them with overhangs that are supposedly supported by white columns. In reality, the overhangs are held by snots, and I've used 2 headlight bricks to hold the columns. One of the windows could be difficult to spot as it's hidden behind the spiral staircase. Also, because this side of the building has larger windows and clear doors, it's possible to see a lot more of the interior. The back entrance has a code-locked door, and to make it more interesting, I added this cover with a flower on top. The roof has a step design alongside both of its longer edges, which transitions into 3 central features, 2 half circles, and a structure in the middle. I've used a bunch of slopes to add texture and to cover up any exposed underlying structure. Building the roof was really satisfying because you could feel its transition from a flimsy structure into a perfectly rigid one when enough reinforcements were added. Now we'll be taking a detailed interior tour and a more thorough look at all of those furniture mini builds. As you can see, the kitchen has a fridge which is stuffed with food inside. The fridge attaches to the wall with 2 snots. There's also a stove, a bunch of cabinets, drawers, a countertop where someone left their croissant, and an integrated dishwasher. There's also a cookbook with an overhead lamp. The dining table is covered with a pizza box and a dome-shaped plate lid. By the way, it's a really fun mini build that can be made in this way. In the living room next to the sofa, there's a small coffee table with a remote. The large TV is accompanied by a stereo system and a few VR controllers which are hanging on the wall. Next to the entrance, there are 2 hangers for coats and hats and a support pillar. The smaller room has 2 windows with blinds and a built-in shelf in the middle. There's another cabinet with 2 candles on each side, a vintage typewriter, and an over-engineered safe, where a certain combination of actions has to be executed to release the key. It doesn't actually work though. You'll also notice a worker vacuuming the floor and a few random items on the shelf. If you were wondering how the glass panel is supported, it is these clips that the panel is sitting onto. Moving on to the gallery, we can see a few paintings hanging on the walls. There's also 2 benches to sit down, and a vintage camera stand which is used for portrait shots. Supposedly, you can adjust the angle of the camera by turning this wheel, although you have to have a good imagination because this isn't a real feature. You can also peek inside the gallery from the kitchen. The bedrooms on the 2nd floor are almost identical. The only difference is what I hung on this wall. They feature walls that have an obtuse angle, have a comfortable looking bed, and a flower decoration. If we look at the room from the other side, we can see a door key which is hanging right above a small corner table. The bar is absolutely crammed with bottles and glasses. There's 2 stools, a little fence at the front, which is closed now, and an overhead tap where drinks can be poured from. As soon as you enter the third floor, you'll find a heat exchanger and a few hangers for your wet towels and bathrobes. Right next to it, there's a small cabinet with a few items pressing down a towel. One of my favorite mini builds is this luxurious basin with a mirror, which you can easily build like this. Moving on, there's a lamp clipped to the floor and a large modern shower with hinged doors. Allegedly, the water can spray not only from an overhead sprinkler, but also from the sprinklers integrated into the doors. Next to the shower, we have a toilet with a paper roll. And finally, there's a bathtub for those who feel comfortable bathing themselves right next to the window. There are clip bars at the top for window blinds, however I ran out of the right pieces required for them. And that's it for the interior. So in conclusion, this is my boutique hotel alternate build, for which you can find the instructions on the link in the description below. Subscribe for more alternate builds, MOCs and LEGO related content, and comment down below what you think of this alternate build. Again, I would really appreciate it if you press those like and subscribe buttons, because they would help me immensely. If you love modulars, then you may find this video interesting.